So please join me in welcoming our friend and colleague, SIA's Chair, Tunç Doluca. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much, John, for that intro. And Necip, also thank you for your services as chairman last year. I know you must have been quite busy, especially at the end of that year. So, good evening, everybody. It's really a pleasure to be here. And I hope you're enjoying this event, and I hope you get a chance to actually say hello to some of the pioneers of this event. And this 25th year anniversary is actually great. So when I joined Maxim back in 1984, I was a young analog design engineer. So I was really in the heart of this business, doing really old-style analog design products. And I was always passionate about this. When I was in college, I used to tinker. I was, I guess, one of those nerds that was doing electronic stuff rather than partying. But it was all great, but I had never imagined, starting my job at Maxim, that I'd be here, chairman, addressing this crowd. So it's a great honor and it's a great pleasure. And by some divine coincidence, it happens to be the 25th year anniversary of the Noyce Award. So our industry obviously has experienced huge transformations over the years. But one thing really has remained constant. The dynamic individuals that have really driven this industry. I think that's the thing always has been constant. And when I think about the history of semiconductors, it's really all about those people. And many of them are here with us today. They're hardworking, passionate, and committed visionaries in this industry. So take the so-called treacherous 8. I mean, just think about it. If it weren't for Shockley and his book, Electrons and Holes in Semiconductors and Junction Transistors, if you think about it, if the treacherous 8, those young scientists has not left Shockley Semiconductor to form Fairchild, I don't know where we would be here today. Now, the truth of it is they got driven out of that company by an interesting manager. But we'll forget about that. We'll just remember the good stuff about how they formed Fairchild. So when I look around today, I really see the same passion and inspiration in people that I see. And I can imagine how it was for these 8 young engineers at the Clift Hotel, really planning the future for themselves. And by the way, I would have loved to take some credit for that, but I wasn't born for about 4 months after that event in 1957. But I've actually lived that myself, and I'll tell you how. I came to know a great analog pioneer in our industry. His name was Jack Gifford. Some of you might know him. He actually was the co-founder of AMD. He was the founder of Maxim, and he was the greatest storyteller that I've known. And in all of our business meetings, there was always some lesson that came out of those Fairchild days. So he'd sit us around and tell us the stories, and it was great because we learned about the mistakes that were made, and not to make them ourselves. So it will always be my team, everybody that's worked for him, will always be grateful for those great stories that have told us. And I see Matt Murphy nodding there, so he was in the group listening to that. So here we are, thanks to the relentless pursuit and vision of our predecessors. And you've really transformed our industry. Many of them are actually sitting at the head table here. If you get a chance, you should really talk to these individuals. And today, as John said, semiconductors are stitched into every piece of our lives. Many people outside of this industry don't realize that, but we really are the backbone of the whole technology sector and pretty much everything that we do. We use it, and I'll just quote from SIA, we enable the systems and products we use to work, communicate, travel, entertain, harness energy, treat illnesses, and make new scientific discoveries. We truly are part of everything we do. So we got to make sure that everybody understands that in the administration as well as Congress. Today, the SIA is moving forward by advancing policy. You mentioned most of those, John. Thanks for doing that. But it's really in three groups. You probably noticed it. It's to defend against threats. It's to expand our markets. And it's really to promote innovation. And maybe that last one is the most important to move our industry forward. And as your chairman this year, I will make it a priority to work with John and our vice chair, Mark, to make sure that we advance those priorities. And especially with the new administration coming in, I think we have to be more active. So I ask all the CEOs to make sure that we do talk about our cause to the administration. So what do you do today to ensure that our industry thrives? I would say it's all about people again. I would say that we have to attract and cultivate a lot of young, new people into our industry. And I think that that is very important. We must attract them. We must show them our passion. We must tell them our stories, just like Jack Gifford did. So, Ray, I applaud you for writing the book you're writing about analog devices. I think it'll be huge to tell those stories. And that's the way we're going to move us forward. And we have to listen to these new entrants into our business. They're going to have a lot of crazy ideas, or they're going to sound crazy, but that's how innovation is made in our world. So I accept this honor as SIA chair for 2017, and I would like to express my gratitude for the SIA achievements and leadership through 39 years. I think next year is going to be 40, so we should be planning something for that, John. And by working together, I think we have and will continue to innovate and achieve remarkable things for our industry and for the world. And so here's to everybody, past, present, and future, who have and who will continue to make our world a better place. So thank you very much.